What's up, gang? Kawaii50 here with another Fake Grand Order servant breakdown for you. This time, covering a much anticipated 5-star for both gameplay as well as just actual we love this character reasons. It is the Berserker herself, the summer variant of the beloved Miyamoto Musashi. We're going to be going over all the aspects of Musashi's kit. I'm going to try to briefly explain why people are so absolutely hyped for this lady, and then we're going to go ahead and do what we can to recommend allies, command codes, the whole shebang. So, if this video helps you out, this video helps you get hype for Musashi, please consider liking and subscribing. Musashi has a quick 2 arts and 2 buster deck with an AoE arts type Noble Phantasm. And that animation changes from her 2nd to 3rd ascension. Please check it out. It is absolutely amazing. Her max HP of 12,150 is a little above average compared to the rest of the servants in the game. But remember, she is a Berserker, so much like Kintoki, much like Lobu, much like pretty much anyone barring Heracles and Ku Alter, she is basically made of wet tissue paper. Her attack, however, far more impressive. At 12,712, it is the 4th highest attack stat in the entire game. And considering her Berserker class advantage, it really might as well be in the top 3 or even the top. It is absolutely monstrous. Her NP per hit at a 0.51 is actually pretty decent, and this ends up getting even better with a certain servant that we're going to go over in the allies section. Lots of great things can come out of Musashi's NP gain. It's the main reason people are really hyped about her. Her star absorption, though, as to be expected from a Berserker, a measly 9. Don't expect stars going to Musashi unless you've made a ton of them. Musashi's first skill is her main form of survivability, and that is Excel turn rank B. This gives her 1 instance of evade, and also increases her critical strength by 30 to 50%. It's pretty nice that it's 1 instance of evade, which means if it doesn't get used, it's still going to be hanging out, but the main issue with this skill is the critical damage. Why, oh why, do you give a servant a critical damage boost when she has no real way to gain critical stars to make sure those flow to her instead of all the other servants that she has on her team? Big L there. I get the skill is copied, but big L. You're going to go ahead and max this last solely to reduce the cooldown on the evade. Musashi's second skill is 5th Zenith rank B, and this works much like the skill on her Saber incarnation. This doubles the number of hits on her arts type attacks, at the cost of reducing the damage per hit by 50%. This also, however, increases the damage of Musashi's arts normal attacks as you sink more into the skill, so it ends up going from a 0 at rank 1 to a 30% at rank 10. Most importantly, this also monstrously increases Musashi's Noble Phantasm gain by 30 to 50%, and this lasts for 3 turns, which is incredibly important when it comes to this skill. This is easily the skill you want to max first on Musashi. That NP gain is going to be a very important component in future-proofing your entire team, and the extra damage on those arts attacks, well, that ain't gonna hurt either. And Musashi's final skill is the Heavenly Demon's Gaze, rank EX. This gives her 3 turns of Ignore Invincibility. It increases her attack by 20 to 30% for 3 turns, gives her 1 instance of Guts for 3 turns, and decreases the defense of all of her enemies by 10 to 30%, also for 3 turns. This is all at the cost of dealing 5,000 damage to Musashi. I mean, she's a Berserker anyways, though, so she was already probably going to die in a single attack chain. So to be quite honest, it's fine. It's really fine. You're not going to see much of an issue regarding this. Max this skill second mainly for the monstrous attack boost. The fact that the defense is tied to levels in the skill too is also pretty dang great. Of course, append skills are now a brand new addition on the JP server, and rather than go into each of them individually, I'm going to just be mentioning for future videos which ones you're going to want to give your servants, and whether or not the third skill is worth it. For Musashi, I would solely recommend giving her the mana loading append skill, allowing her to start the battle with a 10 to 20% NP gauge. This is going to be very, very effective for what she is trying to do. Musashi's Noble Phantasm is Ganryujima. This deals 450 to 750% damage to all enemies, and also decreases their critical rate by 30% for 3 turns. The overcharge effect has a high chance of inflicting NP Seal to Saber-type enemies specifically for 1 turn. All in all, it seems on the surface this Noble Phantasm might not be that good. I mean, decreasing critical rate, inflicting NP Seal on Sabers only, what the heck is that? But this Noble Phantasm is going to be the core part of Musashi's kit, mainly because of the damage and how it's going to interact with some other things, and it is going to be the main thing you're going to be using on her. If you've pulled Musashi Berserker, you're going to be seeing this animation a lot, and you're going to want to be seeing it every single turn. And this is what leads me to the ally section. Now, of course, Musashi is an arts-type berserker, so you want arts-type supporters on your team whenever possible. However, we do have to give extra special mention to Artoria Pendragon Caster. When Artoria Pendragon Caster hits NA, Musashi is going to become an Edmund Dante's tier farming servant. Much like how Dante's is one of the kings of the quick type farming, Musashi is going to be one of the queens of the arts type farming. Thanks to Double Castoria with Musashi, you are going to be able to loop her Noble Phantasm every single turn fairly reliably, mainly thanks to that bonus NP gain on her second skill, and the ability to get extra refund if your attack somehow doesn't kill a monster in a specific wave. Just go ahead and follow it up with some Musashi arts attacks, and you'll be able to go ahead and make up the difference. This is the main reason so many people really want Musashi, even if they are not a particularly huge fan of her character. Pulling Musashi and eventually pulling just a Castoria, so you can use a friend Castoria on top of that, that is going to help future-proof you for future farming in the game. And of course, this means it was kinda difficult to even consider picking other allies for Musashi because of how absolutely integral she is to the Castoria farming system. That's sort of her claim to fame. That is why people want her. However, I know there are definitely players out there that are going to want to use Musashi fairly regularly. Maybe not necessarily in the Castoria system, just use her as a core member of their team. So of course I picked a couple of other servants on top of that. Let's start with Prince of Ling, whose demonic visage ability is going to be an incredible bonus to Musashi, especially that arts card effectiveness boost. Let's also not forget about his Noble Phantasm. That attack bonus that it has is going to stack with Musashi's own attack bonus, allowing her to carve through some enemies even on turns that she is not using her Noble Phantasm. If you end up deciding to go fight a boss with Summer Musashi, consider bringing along Summer Murasaki Shikibu. Because Musashi is a berserker, her star weight's already low, so you're probably not going to be super worried about Summer Shikibu stealing all of those stars. The main reason you are going to bring Shikibu along with you is because of her second skill, which has the ability to decrease the arts resist for a single enemy. This is stackable with the overcharge bonus on her own Noble Phantasm, which, you guessed it, decreases the arts resist for a single enemy. So this can overall help Musashi's damage. For some of the same reasons it's okay to bring Summer Shikibu, the same also applies to Shimayi. But Shimayi is able to provide Musashi with some survivability that Summer Shikibu is not. Supreme Mystic Code Volume and Hydrogyrum can give Musashi 2 instances of invincibility, while also charging her Noble Phantasm gauge. Tactician's Advice is fine, but with Musashi being a berserker, you're not going to be seeing much of an effect from that. But Emperor's Wand's Command definitely is going to be helpful, increasing Musashi's Noble Phantasm gauge and increasing her attack by a whopping 20 to 40%. And as always, Shimayi's Unspoken Formation is an incredible boon, which allows you to ignore class disadvantage when receiving damage to all allies. This is going to be one of the main things that is going to help your Musashi survive. Being able to ignore that Berserker class disadvantage is gonna be huge. It's going to be a very, very effective strategy if you want to bring Musashi along on longer battles. There is another servant I definitely want to mention, and that is Summer Kiara, the Moon Cancer variant, mainly for her Clam Palace ability, which is going to provide Musashi with an evade and also decrease the arts resist of all enemies facing Kiara and Musashi by a solid 20 to 30%. This is really all dependent on her stacks of fascination. I'm not going to really get into the mechanics of that right now because it's going to make the video last for a long time. Just know that the main reason I'm recommending Kiara is she has the ability to reduce enemy art resistance and provide Musashi with an extra bit of survivability. And speaking of survivability, let's consider pairing Musashi with Ganesha. Thriving Business can be an incredible attack boosting skill, providing Musashi with NP gauge, attack, and some extra critical stars per turn from her, Ganesha, and whoever you have along in your front line. Broken Tusk and Vinayaka rank EX are fantastic survival tools for Musashi. Broken Tusk drawing all enemy fire to Ganesha, and Vinayaka rank EX giving Musashi a turn of invincibility, while also giving her a turn of increased Noble Phantasm gain. If you manage to luckily time this, you might be able to even loop without a Castoria, provided you have Musashi's second skill active, and maybe say a Tamamo no Mai in the mix. Now, wouldn't that be fun? For Musashi's craft essences, I hate to say it, but the absolute best thing you can give her is the Whale's ultimate trump card, the Max Limit Broken Kaleidoscope. An MLB Kaleidoscope is going to ensure Musashi can Noble Phantasm turn 1, and it is a very important tool in making sure she's able to function well in the Castoria system. Other than that, there are other craft essences you can give Musashi if you want to use her in a more casual farming mindset. Painting Summer is of course excellent, featuring her pupil Hokusai, giving arts card effectiveness, NP gain, and a starting NP gauge. Dive to Blue can also be a great pick, increasing arts card effectiveness, NP strength, and providing that starting NP gauge as well. If you're looking for a 4-star option, consider Callite Sapphire, which grants arts effectiveness and NP damage. All of these, however, when it comes to using Summer Musashi at her most optimal, pale in comparison to a Max Limit Broken Kaleidoscope. And finally, for Musashi's command codes, I sort of looked into what kind of utility can we provide with her. What can we provide Musashi that will give her a more reliable chance to loop her Noble Phantasm? And what can we provide on top of that to maybe make sure she doesn't die as fast in longer fights? My first recommendation will be Mage of Flowers, which once every 3 turns will charge Musashi's NP gauge by 10% when she attacks using the engraved card. If you follow this up after a Noble Phantasm, this can be a nice little bit of insurance to make sure she gets to that 100%. You can also provide a similar bonus with Crest of Titan's Pit, which increases the NP gain of the engraved card by 5%. 100% throw this on an arts card. If you're looking for something that provides Musashi a bit of utility, White Vessel's Command Seal or its Code Cure freebie equivalent are always excellent picks for attacking servants that have no real consistent way to cleanse their own debuffs. Give her something like this and you'll get rid of a poison or, God forbid, a defense down, which can be fatal. And finally, I would also like to recommend Maiden of Orleans. Once every 3 turns, this allows Musashi to recover 1000 HP when attacking using the engraved card. Considering her primary attack skill saps 5,000 of her hit points, this might be a good thing for you to bring along if you are planning on using Musashi in longer fights. It is by no means a necessary command code on Musashi, but it's more of a nice little quality of life improvement. Overall, gang, if you have pulled a Summer Musashi, you have effectively taken the first steps toward future-proofing your team for the future arts meta. Musashi is one of the main attackers and main farmers in the double Castoria system. She won't be super amazing right now on NA out of the gate because she is lacking her key partner. But once Caster Artoria hits North America server, you are going to be seeing an absolute change in Musashi. Something deep and primal within her will be unlocked. It will be as though she has reached the void yet again, like she did in Shimosa. You are going to have on your hands one of the deadliest servants when it comes to farming absolutely any piece of content. If you happen to pull yourself a Summer Miyamoto Musashi, you had best count yourself lucky. And you had best start saving for Caster Artoria starting now. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so let me know your thoughts about Summer Musashi down in the comment section below. Let me know if there are any particular craft essences I might have missed, command codes, or allies that you have used with Musashi to great effect. Let me know which of your favorite ascensions is in Musashi's arsenal. I was really down with the second ascension because it has gun blades, but that animation for the Noble Phantasm on the third ascension just absolutely had me sold. I had to pick that from that point forward. If you want to argue over which Musashi Ascension is the best, you can go ahead and hop in the Discord where we talk about Fate Grand Order and a bunch of other games. Huge thanks as always to all of you subscribers on YouTube, all of the patrons on Patreon, and all of the followers and subscribers on Twitch. As of the release of this video, we've hit 4,000 subscribers here on the channel, and I've got to say I'm eternally grateful for all of you that have made that possible. Thank you so much, and I hope you'll stick with me as I continue plowing forwards on the road to 10K. This is Kawaii50, hoping you all have a phenomenal day, and I'll see you all in the next video.